Drew DeArmond, 97.7. We're going to go to him coming up in about 30 seconds, but I want to play an audio clip because he asked a very important question following Alabama's big win over Fresno State about this offensive line, and this is what Nick Saban responded with. You'll hear the question and the answer.
And, Coach, I know you hadn't had a chance to watch the film yet, but how did you think the offensive line played as a whole? And I know you wanted them to play with more power, you said, following the Florida State game.
Well, look, I think they did a better job in this game. I think when you have the ball 3rd and 2 at the 2, and you tell them that if we gain a yard, we're going to go for it on 4th and 1, and you don't gain a yard, when everybody's got a chance to get movement at the point of attack and you don't get any. Am I happy about that? No. Did they play better today? Yes. And you're right. I hadn't watched the film yet, so it's not fair to make a total assessment. You guys can see better where you watch the game from than I can see where I watch the game from. What'd you think?
I thought it was so-so.
Okay, well then, I appreciate your opinion, Hell, if I watch the film and I think it's so-so, maybe we'll try to hire you. Is that it?
That's it.
So with that, let's go to Drew DeArmond. He could be a possible coach on the coaching staff by tomorrow morning. Drew DeArmond, confirmation. Have you got a phone call from Nick Saban yet?
I have not been called by Nick Saban, Ryan.
I thought it was a great question, and I thought it was a great follow-up, too. You know what I told him after the press conference? I think I gave you a high five, and I said, I just wish that you would have said they got their butt whipped on the offensive line, but you said so-so, and that's been a theme.
Well, it has been, and I thought that Nick Saban basically confirmed that at the press conference today. I know Matt Womack was SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, but he said there was about 7 different occasions where they could have put a hat on a hat and got more movement at the point of attack and, perhaps executed better in the offensive line. And I think, especially when you look at the red zone where they didn't execute very well, and that was kind of a bugaboo of last year, I just don't think, even going back and watching the game again, there were times that they got movement, but there were times that they were stymied pretty good. And I think at times also the pass protection broke down, especially when you consider Jonah Williams making the transition from right to left tackle. So I think there's some areas to clean up. I think it's going to be another point of, emphasis this week, and they're going to need to do that against Colorado State, who I think has a better football team than Fresno.
Yeah, let me ask you, when you look at it, Drew, going back to this offensive line, I said this earlier, when you look at Jalen Hurts' skill set, you need him to be a mobile quarterback with this offensive line.
Yes, no question. I think, as I told you after the Florida State game, I felt like he saved them from 6 or 7 sacks in that game. We see what having a quarterback not a dynamic runner with the Auburn Tigers, what that got Auburn, that was an 11-sack game. So, having Jalen Hurts and having him be a dynamic runner and being able to improvise and make plays with his feet, and also to call the quarterback runs. The quarterback runs bring a lot to Alabama's offense. It makes the defense have to account for him on every play, and I think it really helps. And Jeff Tedford pretty much said so after the game. The former Cal Berkeley head coach, mentored a lot of great quarterbacks, including arguably the best one in the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers, a future Hall of Famer. He said that, Hurts was big and strong and basically ran all over him. And I thought Jalen was the star of the game. I thought the passing game took some steps forward. I thought he spread the ball around and made really good reads. But, I know going into the year, the mantra was they weren't going to run Jalen as much, and I still believe that. But it still looks like it's going to be a big part of the offense.